The big silver ship floated quietly near Earth's moon. Inside, 12 different types of aliens sat around a curved table. They had come from far away to meet humans for the first time. The leader was a tall, thin creature with 4 arms and purple skin. Her name was Zixthala, and she was very smart. She had studied many different planets and their people. "Today we meet the humans," Zixthala said to her team. "Our records show they are a young species. They should be simple to understand." The other aliens nodded. They had done this many times before. First contact was always the same. The new species would be scared. They would bow down. They would offer gifts. Then everyone would sign papers and become friends. On the moon base, Commander Jake Morrison was drinking coffee and watching the big alien ship through his window. He was a relaxed man with short brown hair and an easy smile. He had been in space for 2 years and was getting bored. When his radio started making noise, he almost spilled his coffee. "Luna Base 7, this is the Galactic Council ship Harmonious Dawn," came a voice that sounded like it was speaking through water. "We request formal diplomatic contact with your species." Jake picked up the radio. "Hey there. Welcome to our neighborhood. I'm Jake. What's your name?" On the alien ship, Zixthala blinked all 4 of her eyes. The human had not followed any proper greeting rules. He sounded like he was talking to a friend, not an alien delegation. "I am senior researcher Zixthala of the Velconian Empire," she said slowly. "We represent the Galactic Council. We wish to begin first contact procedures." "Cool. That sounds official," Jake said. "You guys want to come down for some coffee? I just made a fresh pot. We could watch a movie or something." The aliens looked at each other. A small blue creature with tentacles for arms started typing on a computer. "Coffee is a mild drug," it said. "Movies are fictional entertainment. Why would they want us to consume drugs and watch lies?" "Maybe it's a test," said a rock-like being with glowing eyes. "Humans might be more clever than we thought." Zixthala tried again. "We appreciate your offer, but we must follow proper procedures. We need to exchange technological data and discuss territorial boundaries." "Territorial boundaries?" Jake laughed. "Dude, space is huge. There's room for everyone. And tech data sounds boring. How about I show you my favorite movie instead? It's about humans fighting aliens, but don't worry, the aliens are the bad guys in this one." The silence on the alien ship was very long. Finally, an insect-like creature with 6 legs spoke up. "Did the human just threaten us?" "I think so," said the blue tentacle creature. "It mentioned humans fighting our kind." No, said Jake, not knowing he was causing panic. "It's just a fun movie. The aliens are trying to take over Earth, and humans have to stop them. It's got great action scenes and funny jokes." Dr. Lisa Chun walked into Jake's room just as he was explaining the movie. She was a thin woman with glasses and long black hair. She was Earth's best expert on meeting new species. "Jake, what are you doing?" she asked. "Just chatting with our new alien friends," Jake said. "They seem a bit uptight, though." Lisa grabbed the radio. "This is Dr. Lisa Chun, Earth's xenobiology specialist. Please excuse Commander Morrison. He's very friendly, but humans don't always follow formal rules." "Finally, someone sensible," Zixthala said. "Please explain your species' behavior." Lisa thought for a moment. "Well, humans are social creatures. We like to make friends quickly. We also enjoy things that other species might find strange." "Such as?" asked the rock creature. "We eat food that burns our mouths because we like the pain," Lisa said. "We jump out of airplanes for fun. We keep dangerous animals as pets and treat them like family members." The aliens started talking to each other in worried voices. The insect creature was typing very fast on its computer. The blue tentacle being was making strange humming sounds. "Did she say they enjoy pain?" asked a new voice. This came from a tall, thin alien with silver skin. "Yes," Lisa said. "We call it spicy food. The hotter it is, the more some humans like it. We also do things like running long distances until our bodies hurt, lifting heavy weights, and swimming in cold water." "This is disturbing," the silver alien said. "Are humans a masochistic species?" "What's masochistic?" Jake asked. "It means you like being hurt," Lisa explained. "Oh, that's not right," Jake said. "We don't like being hurt. We like challenging ourselves. It makes us stronger." Lieutenant Dan Rodriguez walked into the room. He was a young man with muscles and a big grin. "Hey, what's going on?" "I heard we have visitors." "Dan, meet our alien friends," Jake said. "Aliens?" "Meet Dan. He's our best pilot." "Cool. Nice to meet you guys," Dan said into the radio. "You should come down to Earth. I could take you skydiving. It's amazing. You jump out of a plane and fall through the sky." The radio went quiet for a very long time. "They want to jump out of aircraft?" the rock creature asked. "For pleasure," the blue tentacle being said, checking its computer. "My database shows this is called skydiving. Humans do this for entertainment. These creatures are insane," said the insect being. "They consume pain-inducing substances, keep predators as companions, and throw themselves out of flying vehicles for fun." Zix Thala looked at her team. In all her years of first contact, she had never met a species like this. Humans seemed friendly, but dangerous. They appeared to have no sense of self-preservation. They wanted to share their dangerous activities with complete strangers. "Perhaps we should reconsider this first contact," she said quietly. "Hey, are you guys still there?" Jake asked. "Don't worry about the skydiving. We have parachutes. It's totally safe. Well, mostly safe. Sometimes people get hurt, but that's part of the fun." The alien ship's engines started up. 3 days later, the alien ship came back. This time, they were ready. The Galactic Council had decided to test humans properly. They would find out exactly what these strange creatures could do. Zix Thala spoke to her team in the ship's main room. "We will test their physical abilities," she said. "Every species has limits. Humans cannot be as dangerous as they seem." Dr. Vel Tehran was the Council's expert on bodies and how they worked. He was a purple blob with many eyes floating in a tank of green liquid. "I have prepared several tests," he said. "We will see how long humans can survive in different conditions." "Good," sighed Zix Thala. "Once we prove they are weak, we can classify them properly." On Earth's moon base, Jake got the message. The aliens wanted to test human abilities. They had built special rooms with different environments. Jake thought this sounded like fun. Who wants to play some games with aliens? Jake asked his crew. Marine Sergeant Amy Foster stepped forward. She was a tough woman with short red hair and strong arms. She had fought in wars and climbed mountains. "I'll do it," she said. "Sounds interesting." Pete Bailey raised his hand. Next, he was a big man who built skyscrapers for a living. His hands were rough from years of hard work. "Count me in," he said. "I've worked in all kinds of weather." Carlos Rivera joined them. He was a thin man who ran marathons for fun. He had run races in deserts, mountains, and frozen places. "This should be easy," he said with a smile. The aliens set up their test. Rooms on the moon base. The first room was very hot, like the inside of an oven. The second room was freezing cold, colder than the North Pole. The third room had very little air to breathe, like the top of a high mountain. "These tests will prove human limitations," Dr. Vel Tehran said. "Most species can only survive a few minutes in extreme conditions. Amy went into the hot room first. The temperature was 120 degrees. The aliens expected her to run out quickly. Instead, Amy took off her jacket and asked for some water. "This isn't too bad," she said. "Reminds me of summer in Arizona. I used to work outside in weather like this." 1 hour passed. Amy was still fine. She was doing push-ups to pass the time. 2 hours passed. Amy started telling jokes to the camera. "How is she still alive?" Dr. Velteran asked. His computer showed that Amy should have died from the heat long ago. Pete entered the cold room. The temperature was minus 40 degrees. Ice formed on the walls immediately. The aliens watched their screens, waiting for Pete to freeze. Instead, Pete started moving around. He did jumping jacks to stay warm. "This is nice," he said. "Feels like winter back home in Minnesota. My dad used to make me work outside in weather." Like this, Pete began doing exercises. Push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. The cold room became his personal gym. "Impossible," said the rock creature. The cold should have stopped his body from working. Carlos went into the lower room. There was barely enough oxygen to keep a person conscious. Normal humans would pass out in minutes. Carlos started jogging in place. "The air is a bit thin," he admitted. "But I train in Colorado sometimes. The mountains there have thin air, too. You just have to pace yourself." Carlos kept running for an hour. He hummed songs while he jogged. Sometimes he did stretches. The aliens watched in horror as their equipment started to overheat from running the tests too long. "Shut it down," Zixthala ordered. "Shut everything down before our machines break." The humans came out of the test rooms looking perfectly fine. Amy was a little sweaty. Pete was slightly pink from the cold. Carlos was breathing a bit hard. That was all. "How was that?" Jake asked them. "Pretty easy," Amy said. "The heat wasn't as bad as basic training in Georgia." "The cold room was actually refreshing," Pete said. "Reminded me of ice fishing with my grandpa." "Good workout," Carlos said. "The thin air made it more challenging. I like challenges." Dr. Velteran stared at his computers. According to every test, the humans should have died. The heat should have cooked Amy's brain. The cold should have frozen Pete's blood. The thin air should have made Carlos pass out. "What is wrong with your species?" he asked. "Wrong?" Lisa Chun said. She had been watching the tests. "Nothing is wrong with us. We're just adaptable." "Adaptable to what?" asked the silver alien. "Earth," Lisa said simply. "Our planet has hot deserts, frozen poles, and high mountains. Humans live in all these places. We've learned to survive anywhere. But why?" asked the blue tentacled creature. "Why would you choose to live in dangerous places?" Amy laughed. "Because they're there. Humans don't like to be stopped by things like weather or mountains or oceans. If there's a place we can't go, we figure out how to go there anyway. We also get bored easily," Pete added. "Comfortable places are nice, but they're not exciting. We like challenges." "Challenges make us stronger," Carlos said. "My grandfather used to say that easy times make weak people, but hard times make strong people." The aliens looked at each other with worried expressions. These humans had survived tests that would kill most galactic species. They had done it easily, almost casually. Worse, they seemed to think it was fun. "There's more," Lisa said. "Humans can adapt to almost anything. We can change our sleep schedules, our diets, our body temperature, even our muscle mass. Give us a few weeks, and we can get used to almost any environment." "How?" Dr. Velteran asked. "Practice," Amy said. "You do something hard until it becomes normal, and you do something harder." "We call it training," Pete said. "Soldiers train for war. Athletes train for sports. Workers train for dangerous jobs. Everyone trains for something. Training is just controlled suffering, Carlos explained. You hurt yourself a little bit every day, so you can handle big pain when it matters. The word suffering made several aliens step backwards. The idea of hurting yourself on purpose was completely alien to them. You deliberately cause yourselves pain? The insect creature asked. Not pain exactly, Lisa said. Discomfort. We push our bodies to their limits, then push a little more. That's how we get stronger. But why would you want to be stronger? Asked the rock creature. The humans looked at each other and smiled. Because you never know what's coming next, Jake said. Life is unpredictable. If you're not ready for anything, you might not survive what happens tomorrow. The aliens realized. They had made a terrible mistake. They had thought humans were a simple, peaceful species. Instead, they had found a race of beings who trained themselves to survive anything. Humans weren't weak creatures who got lucky. They were survivors who had turned survival into an art form. We need to report this to the council, Zixthyla said quietly. The report they would send would change everything the galaxy thought about Earth and its people. The Galactic Council was confused. The humans were strong and tough, but they also seemed very friendly. This was strange. In the galaxy, strong species were usually mean and aggressive. Weak species were nice and peaceful. Humans seemed to be both strong and nice at the same time. Dr. Quintal was the council's expert on how minds worked. He was a floating brain in a glass jar with mechanical arms. We need to study human social behavior, he announced. We will. Put individual humans with different alien species and watch what happens. Excellent idea, said Zixthyla. We will see their true nature when they think no one is watching. The first test subject was Nurse Kelly Wright. She was a kind woman who worked at a hospital on Earth. She had gentle hands and a warm smile. She spent her days taking care of sick people and making them feel better. The aliens put Kelly in a room with Kreeth, a Thornian warrior. Thornians were scary creatures with sharp spines on their backs and claws like knives. They were bred for fighting and knew only war. Kreeth stood 7 feet tall and had scars covering his dark green skin. This should be interesting, Doctor, Quintal said. The human will either run away in fear or try to fight. Either way, we will learn about their aggressive instincts. Kelly walked into the room and saw Kreeth standing in the corner. His spines were raised up, which meant he was ready to fight. His claws were out, and his yellow eyes were watching her carefully. Hello there, Kelly said with a smile. I'm Kelly. What's your name? Kreeth made a low growling sound. This was how Thornians said hello to enemies before battle. Oh, are you hurt? Kelly asked. She walked closer to him. That growl sounds like pain. Let me take a look. Kreeth was confused. No one had ever walked toward him when he was in battle stance. Usually, other creatures ran away or attacked him. This small human female was doing neither. Kelly reached up toward his spines. These look uncomfortable. Do they always stick up like that? Or only when you're upset? I am not upset, Kreeth said in his deep voice. I am prepared for combat. Combat? Kelly looked around the empty room. With who? There's nobody here but us. Are you okay? You seem tense. She gently touched one of his spines. Kreeth had never been touched gently before. In Thornian culture, touching meant fighting or mating. This was something completely different. Your spines are actually quite beautiful, Kelly said. They look like they're made of black glass. Do they hurt? No, Kreeth said slowly. They are weapons. They can be weapons and still be beautiful, Kelly said. I bet they look amazing when the light hits them right. Would you mind if I braided some ribbons between them? I have some in my bag. An hour later, the alien observers watched in shock. As Kreeth sat perfectly still, while Kelly wove colorful ribbons through his spines. The deadly warrior was letting a human decorate him like a festival display. How did this happen? Dr. Quintal asked. I don't know, said Zixthala. According to our screens, they should be fighting, or at least keeping their distance. Kelly was now teaching Kreeth to play a card game called Go Fish. Do you have any sevens? She asked. Go Fish, Kreeth said proudly. He was learning quickly. Good job. You're getting the hang of this. Kelly smiled at him. Tell me about your family. Do you have children? Kreeth showed her a picture of his 3 spawn. Kelly made happy sounds and asked their names. Soon. Kreeth was telling her stories about his home planet and asking about Kelly's work at the hospital. The second test was with engineer Ben Adams. He was a smart man who fixed machines and built things. The aliens put him with a group of Crystallian researchers. Crystallians were made of living crystal and talked by changing colors and patterns on their bodies. Most species found them impossible to understand. Ben walked into the room and saw 5 crystal beings standing around a table. They were flashing different colors at each other: blue, red, yellow, green, and purple patterns that moved across their bodies like waves. Wow, Ben said. That's beautiful. Are you guys talking? The Crystallians stopped flashing and looked at him. They had never met a species that thought their communication was beautiful. Most aliens found it confusing or annoying. Ben pulled out a small flashlight from his tool belt. He started flashing it in simple patterns: red, blue, red, blue. Crystallians flashed back: yellow, green, yellow, green. Ben tried copying their pattern: yellow, green, yellow, green. The Crystallians became very excited. Their colors started flashing faster and brighter. Ben kept trying to copy them, using his flashlight and even the light on his phone. I don't understand what you're saying, Ben admitted, but I can tell you're trying to teach me. This is amazing. One of the Crystallians started, flashing very slowly and simply. Red, red, then it pointed to something red in the room. Red, Ben said. You're teaching me colors. The Crystallians were delighted. They had never met an alien who wanted to learn their language. Most species just used computer translators. Ben was actually trying to understand them directly. Within 2 hours, Ben could say, hello, thank you, and beautiful in Crystallian light language. The crystal beings were so happy, they started showing him their poetry, which looked like rainbow waterfalls of color flowing across their bodies. The third test was the most shocking. Teacher Maria Santos was put in a room with a voidling. Voidlings were considered impossible to communicate with. They existed partly in another dimension and appeared as dark shadows that flickered in and out of reality. Most species were terrified of them. Maria walked into the dark room and saw a shadow moving in the corner. Instead of being scared, she sat down on the floor and started talking. Hello, she said to the shadow. I'm Maria. I know you might not understand me, but I wanted to say hi anyway. The shadow flickered. I teach children back on Earth, Maria continued. Sometimes I have students who are very shy. They hide in corners and don't want to talk. I've learned that the best thing to do is just sit with them and be patient. The shadow stopped flickering and seemed to listen. You know, Maria said, being different isn't bad. Some of my best students were the quiet ones who thought differently from everyone else. They just needed someone to believe in them. Slowly, the shadow began to become more solid. A voidling was choosing to exist more fully in their dimension. Just to hear Maria talk. There you are, Maria said gently. You don't have to hide. I'm not going anywhere. The voidling began to make soft sounds, like wind through trees. Maria couldn't understand the words, but she could hear the loneliness in them. It's okay, she said. Everyone feels alone sometimes, but you're not alone now. I'm here with you. Doctor. Quintal stared at his screens in horror. This is impossible, he said. Humans are forming emotional bonds with our test subjects. What do you mean? Asked Zixthala. They're making friends, Dr. Quintal explained. Kelly has somehow convinced a Thonian warrior to let her braid his spines. Man is learning Crystalian poetry. Maria is providing emotional support to a voidling. But that's not how these tests work, the blue tentacle creature said. The subjects are supposed to maintain proper social distances. Humans don't seem to understand social distances, Dr. Quintal said. They approach everyone like a potential friend. That's dangerous, said the rock creature. What if they meet a hostile species? They'll probably try to become friends. With them, too. Zixthala said quietly. The alien observers realized they had discovered something unprecedented in galactic history. Humans didn't just survive dangerous conditions and form social bonds with their own species. They tried to form social bonds with everything they met. My database shows this behavior is called pack bonding, the insect creature said. But humans seem to pack bond with species that aren't even close to their own biology. They pack. Bonded with a warrior designed for killing, Dr. Quintal noted. They pack bonded with crystal beings who don't even have emotions as we understand them. They pack bonded with a creature that barely exists in our dimension. What kind of species? Tries to make friends with everything? Asked the silver alien. The answer would terrify and amaze the galaxy in equal measure. The Galactic Council decided they needed to see Earth for themselves. How did humans become so strange? What kind of planet could create creatures that were both tough as warriors and friendly as pets? A team of alien scientists traveled to Earth. In a small ship, their leader was Dr. Morgan, who studied planets and how life grew on them. He was a tall, thin creature with gray skin and large black eyes. He had visited over 100 worlds and thought he had seen everything. Prepare for landing, Dr. Morgan told his team. Earth should be a peaceful garden world. That would explain why humans are so social and trusting. The ship landed in a field in Montana, where Farmer John Mitchell was working with his cattle. John was a weathered man with strong hands and a cowboy hat. He had lived on the ranch his whole life, just like his father and grandfather before him. When John saw the alien ship land in his pasture, he walked over to meet them. He wasn't scared or excited. He was curious. Afternoon, John said, tipping his hat as the aliens came out of their ship. You folks need any help? Dr. Morgan was surprised. Most species either ran away or attacked when they saw aliens for the first time. This human was acting like strangers landed in his field every day. We are here to study your planet, Dr. Morgan said. We want to understand how your species developed. Sure thing, John said. Want some coffee? It's a hot day. The aliens followed John to his house. On the way, they passed a creek where the water was flowing fast and deep. That water looks dangerous, said one of the aliens, a blue creature with tentacles. Do you avoid it? Dangerous? John laughed. That's just Willow Creek. I swim in it all the time. Great for cooling off after work. Dr. Morgan took out a scanner and tested the water. This liquid contains bacteria and parasites that could kill most galactic species, he said. Probably makes me stronger, John said with a shrug. My dad always said creek water was better than anything that came from a bottle. They walked past John's garden, where he grew vegetables and flowers. Dr. Morgan scanned the plants and nearly dropped his device. These plants produce toxins, he said. This one creates a burning sensation in the mouth. This one causes hallucinations. This one can stop a heart. Oh, you mean my peppers, herbs, and tomatoes, John said. The peppers are for making chili. Gets your blood moving. The herbs make everything taste better. And everyone knows tomatoes are good for you. But they're poisonous, the blue alien said. Only if you eat too many, John explained. A little bit of poison never hurt anybody. builds character. As they walked, the aliens noticed other dangers. Flying creatures with sharp beaks circled overhead. Four-legged animals with teeth like knives watched them from the trees. Insects buzzed around them, some carrying venom that could paralyze. A grown man. "How do you survive on this death world?" Dr. Morgan asked. "Death world?" John looked confused. "This is just Earth. It's a nice place to live if you know what you're doing." They reached John's house, where his dog Rex came running to greet them. Rex was a large German shepherd with powerful jaws and sharp teeth. The aliens jumped backwards. In fear, "Don't worry about Rex," John said, patting the dog's head. "He's friendly. Rex, meet our guests." Rex wagged his tail and tried to lick the nearest alien. The creature screamed and hid behind Dr. Morgan. "Your companion animal could easily kill us," the blue alien said. "Rex? Kill somebody?" John laughed so hard he had to wipe tears from his eyes. "Rex wouldn't hurt a fly. He's a big baby." "Aren't you, boy?" Rex barked happily and brought John a stick to throw. "But it has weapons," Dr. Morgan said, pointing at Rex's teeth and claws. "Those aren't weapons," John said. "Those are just dog parts. Rex uses his teeth to eat and his claws to dig holes. He's a working dog. He helps me take care of the cattle." "The cattle?" Dr. Morgan asked. John walked them over to a fenced area where 50 huge black and white animals were eating grass. Each cow weighed over 1,000 pounds and could easily crush a person by stepping on them. "These are dangerous predators," the blue alien said. "Predators?" John laughed again. "These are dairy cows. They eat grass and make milk. Bessie here is the gentlest creature you'll ever meet." John walked up to the biggest cow and scratched behind her ears. Bessie made a happy mooing sound and nuzzled John's shoulder with her massive head. "She could kill you with one movement," Dr. Morgan said. "Bessie?" John looked at the cow with affection. "She's been with me for 8 years. She's like family. All my animals are family." Later that day, Rancher Sue Thompson invited the aliens to her horse ranch. Sue was a strong woman who had worked with horses all her life. She could ride any horse and train the wildest Mustang. "These are my babies," Sue said, showing them her horses. The animals were beautiful but huge, with muscles like steel cables and hooves that could crack skulls. "You climb on top of these creatures?" Dr. Morgan asked. "Every day," Sue said. "This is Thunder. He's my favorite." Thunder was a black stallion that stood 6 feet tall at the shoulder. He snorted and stamped his feet, making the ground shake. "He looks angry," the blue alien said. "Nah, he's just excited," Sue said. She climbed onto Thunder's back like it was the most natural thing in the world. "He wants to run, don't you, boy?" Thunder whinnied and tossed his head. Sue rode him around the paddock, jumping over fences and racing across the field. Horse and rider moved together like they were one creature. "How do you control such a beast?" Dr. Morgan asked when Sue returned. "Control?" Sue looked puzzled. "I don't control Thunder. We're partners. He trusts me, and I trust him. That's how it works with horses." The final stop was the veterinary clinic run by Dr. Alex Murphy. Alex was a gentle man who loved all animals, from the smallest bird to the largest bear. His clinic was full of creatures that would terrify most galactic species. "This is Buddy," Alex said, introducing them to a German Shepherd mix. "He was hit by a car, but he's all better now." Buddy wagged his tail and tried to lick the aliens, just like Rex had done. "And this is Princess," Alex said, holding up a small tabby cat. "She's recovering from surgery." Princess purred and rubbed against Alex's hands. The aliens could see her claws, which were sharp enough to cut through metal. This feline has retractable weapons, Dr. Morgan noted. Princess? She's the sweetest cat in the world, Alex said. She purrs every time someone pets her. And this, Alex said proudly, is Captain Crackers. Captain Crackers was a large parrot with a bright red and blue body and a beak that could snap bones. He sat on Alex's shoulder and made happy squawking. Sounds. Beautiful bird, Captain Crackers said in perfect English. Pretty aliens? Want a cracker? The aliens jumped backwards. It speaks, the blue creature said. Captain Crackers is very smart, Alex explained. He knows over 100 words. He's also a great judge of character. If he likes you, you must be good people. Dr. Morgan looked around the clinic. Every wall had pictures of Alex with different animals, dogs, cats, birds, reptiles, and creatures. The aliens couldn't identify. In every picture, Alex was smiling, and the animals looked happy and healthy. Do you understand what you've done? Dr. Morgan asked. What do you mean? Alex asked. You've domesticated predators. You've formed emotional bonds with creatures that could kill you. You've turned a death world into a home. Alex thought about this. I guess we just see the good in everything, he said. Every animal has something special about it. Every creature deserves love and care. Even dangerous ones? The blue alien asked. Especially dangerous ones, Alex said. Usually, dangerous animals are just scared or hurt. They need love more than anything else. That night, as the aliens prepared to leave Earth, Dr. Morgan made his final report. Humans didn't develop their abilities despite living on a death world, he said. They developed them because of it. Earth forced them to become strong, adaptable, and cooperative. They had to work together to survive. They had to make friends with dangerous creatures to live safely. They turned survival into an art form and cooperation into a science. The other aliens listened in amazement. They don't see danger, Dr. Morgan continued. They see challenges to overcome. They don't see enemies. They see potential friends. This world made them into something the galaxy has never seen before. What are they? Asked the blue alien. They're survivors who refuse to survive alone, Dr. Morgan said. They're the product of a world that tried to kill them, so they learned to make friends with everything instead. The alien ship left Earth that night, carrying a report that would change everything the galaxy thought about humans and their strange, wonderful, terrible planet. The great hall of the Galactic Council was buzzing with worried voices. Representatives from thousands of worlds had gathered to discuss the human problem. The reports from Earth had shocked everyone. Humans were strong like warriors, but friendly. Like children. They lived on a death world, but treated dangerous creatures like family pets. They formed bonds with anything that moved and several things that didn't. Chairman Velcorian stood at the center of the great circle. He was an ancient being who looked like a tree made of silver metal. He had seen the rise and fall of many civilizations, but he had never encountered anything like humans. We must decide what to do about Earth, he announced. The humans are unlike any species we have ever encountered. They may be too dangerous for galactic society. Dr. Zix Thala stood up to give her report. Humans appear to have no concept of reasonable risk, she said. They consume toxins for pleasure, jump out of aircraft for entertainment, and try to befriend every creature they meet, regardless of danger. They also survive conditions that would kill most of us, added Dr. Velteran. They adapt to environments. That should be impossible for life. Their physical abilities are far beyond what their appearance suggests. Worse, said Dr. Quintal, they form emotional attachments with remarkable speed. They tried to become friends with our test subjects within hours of meeting them. This behavior could destabilize established diplomatic relationships throughout the galaxy. Many council members nodded in agreement. The blue tentacled creatures whispered among themselves. The rock beings glowed with concern. The insect species clicked their approval. "I propose immediate quarantine," said Ambassador Krickstahl of the hegemony. "Humans should be isolated until we understand them better. They are simply too unpredictable." "Agreed," said General Morfek of the warrior clans. "Any species that tries to befriend everything is either incredibly naive or incredibly dangerous. Either way, they don't belong in civilized space." Just as the vote was about to begin, a new voice spoke up from the back of the hall. "Wait," said Commander Thexer of the Sarkanian Republic. "Before you decide, I have something to say." Thexer was a proud warrior from a species that looked like tall lizards with golden scales. The Sarkanians were known throughout the galaxy as honorable fighters and skilled diplomats. If Thexer wanted to speak, everyone would listen. "The Sarkanian Republic has been fighting the hive mind for 300 years, Thexer said. His voice was tired but strong. "We are losing. Our people are dying. Our worlds are falling one by one." The hall grew quiet. Everyone knew about the war with the hive mind. The hive was a collective of insect-like creatures that consumed everything in their path. They turned captured species into mindless drones. They had already destroyed 17 civilizations. "We have tried everything," Thexer continued. "Our best weapons, our smartest strategies, our bravest warriors. Nothing works against them. The hive adapts to every tactic we use. They learn from every battle. They never stop, never rest, never show mercy." "What does this have to do with humans?" asked Chairman Velkorian. "Everything," Thexer said. "You say humans are unpredictable. You say they form bonds with dangerous creatures. You say they survive impossible conditions and never give up. These are exactly the qualities we need to fight the hive." "You want to use humans as weapons?" Dr. Zixthala asked. "I want to ask them for help," Thexer said. "The Sarkanian Republic formally requests human military assistance." The hall erupted in shocked voices. Using humans in warfare was either brilliant or insane. No one could decide which. "That's madness," said Ambassador Krickstahl. "Humans are completely unpredictable. They might make things worse." "How could they make things worse?" Thexer asked. "We're already dying. Our civilization will be extinct in 50 years if nothing changes. At least humans offer something different." "But they're not military strategists," General Morthic said. "They're farmers and nurses and engineers. What could they possibly do against the hive mind?" "They're survivors," Thexer said simply. "They come from a world that tried to kill them every day, so they learn to fight back. They form bonds with everything, so they'll never abandon their allies. They adapt to any situation, so they'll find ways to surprise the hive." 2 weeks later, Captain Rick Tonson arrived at the Sarkanian command station with a small team of human advisors. Rick was a career soldier with gray hair and steady eyes. He had fought in many wars and never backed down from a fight. The Sarkanian officers briefed Rick on the situation. The hive mind had superior numbers, millions of drones against millions of Sarkanian soldiers. The hive had better technology. Their ships were faster and their weapons more powerful. The hive had perfect coordination. Every drone thought with the same mind and acted without hesitation. "So they're stronger, faster, and smarter than us?" Rick asked. "Yes," said General Kexvin, the Sarkanian military leader. "Do you understand why we're losing?" "I understand why you think you're losing," Rick said with a small smile. "But this doesn't sound too bad. Humans have been fighting impossible battles since we learned to walk." "How can you be optimistic about this?" General Kexvan asked. "Because you're thinking like soldiers," Rick explained. "The hive mind thinks like soldiers too. They use tactics and strategies and logical planning. But humans don't always think like soldiers." Rick called in his team. There was Sergeant Lisa Park, a combat engineer who could build weapons out of scrap metal. There was Lieutenant Tommy Brooks, a pilot who had never met a vehicle he couldn't fly. There was Major Sarah. Kim, a medic who had saved lives in impossible situations. "What we need," Rick said, "is to make the hive mind as confused about us as the Galactic Council was." The first human strategy was simple: befriend everything. When hive drones were captured, instead of destroying them, humans tried to talk to them. They offered food, medical care, and friendship. "This is pointless," General Kexven said. "Hive drones have no individual thoughts. They can't be reasoned with." "Maybe," Rick said, "but it doesn't hurt to try." Something unexpected happened. Some of the captured drones began to act strangely. They stopped trying to escape. They started watching their human guards with curiosity instead of hostility. A few even began to mimic human behaviors. Dr. Martinez, a human psychologist, made an amazing discovery. The drones still have individual minds, she reported. The hive mind suppresses their personalities, but it doesn't destroy them. When we treat them with kindness, their original selves start to wake up. Soon, dozens of former hive drones were living peacefully among humans and Sarkanians. They painted pictures, learned to play music, and asked endless questions about freedom and friendship. The hive mind was completely confused by this development. A second human strategy was even stranger: turn suffering into strength. Human soldiers didn't try to avoid the hive's pain weapons. Instead, they trained themselves to fight through the pain. "Pain is just information," Sergeant Park explained to her Sarkanian students. "It tells you something is wrong, but it doesn't have to stop you from fighting." Human soldiers learned to keep fighting, even when the hive's neural disruptors scrambled their thoughts. They learned to function when the hive's fear projectors filled them with terror. They turned every hive weapon into just another training. Exercise. The third strategy was pure chaos. Humans refused to follow predictable battle plans. They used random tactics, improvised weapons, and made decisions that seemed completely insane. Lieutenant Brooks once flew his fighter ship backwards through an asteroid field while playing Earth music at full volume, just to confuse the enemy. Major Kim treated wounded hive drones on the battlefield while they were still fighting, which made their collective mind crash from confusion. But the final strategy was the most effective. Humans adopted everything. When they found abandoned hive technology, they didn't destroy it. They studied it, improved it, and used it in ways the hive had never imagined. When they captured hive ships, they painted flowers on them and filled them with Earth music. When they encountered hive communication networks, they used them to send messages of friendship and jokes that made no sense. Most importantly, when former hive drones joined the human forces, they were welcomed as family. Humans gave them names, taught them Earth customs, and included them in everything. 3 months after the humans arrived, something unprecedented happened. The hive mind sent its first communication in galactic history that wasn't a demand for surrender. "Please make the humans stop adopting our drones and teaching them to paint," the message said. "This behavior is causing system-wide malfunctions. In our collective consciousness, we cannot compute friendship," came another message. "Our drones are developing individual preferences for music, food, and recreational activities. This is not within acceptable parameters. Cease and desist. All attempts to improve our technology with flowers and inefficient decorative elements," said a third message. "Also, please explain the concept of having fun, as our adopted drones keep requesting it." Chairman Velkorian read the hive mind's surrender proposal in the council chambers. After 3 centuries of war, the galaxy's most feared enemy was giving up because humans had confused them into submission. The hive mind agrees to withdraw from all occupied territories.